Can you start a podcast with me, please? I need something to do.
Pastrnak sent it out in front of Malkin to save. They score! Elias Lindholm looks to the heavens.
Here's a chance. Potter right in and goalie scores. Oh my, what a move by the rookie.
2-on-1. Pastrnak moving in with Marchand. Get into it. Score!
The zone. Coyle dances in. Backhand. Score!
Lindholm right wing corner. Pastrnak is there. He scores! David Pastrnak wins it for Boston.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Bruins Tape to Tape. I'm your host today, Caroline with a K, and I am joined in snowy solidarity with my fantastic co-host, Maria from Watertown. How's it going, Maria?
Oh, my God. Snowmageddon. The only thing that makes this tolerable is the fact that the New England Patriots are Super Bowl bound again. And I'm sure the rest of the country is not happy that the Patriots are back, baby.
Again, I'm not a football person, but I'm married to a New Englander who enjoys football. And I'm not going to lie, I thought it was going to be a much longer period of time before I saw this ever again. So I'm okay with it.
And I think many of us thought the same thing. But this season, I'll tell you what a difference a coach and a quarterback makes. The rest of the league should take notice because you might have quarterbacks, but you might not have the right coach. So, it's yesterday was a lot of fun. It was a nail biter, but it was a lot of fun. And, I do believe in the theory of there are teams of destiny.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that right now with this New England Patriots team. There is a lot to be said for in any professional sports, teams that play for each other, play for their coach, and play for their region. So do with that what you will, Boston Bruins and Boston Celtics. So
I know the spotlight is now on them. But, of course, we're here to talk about the Boston Bruins.
Yes.
And to set the table, some Bruins news and things that are happening. A couple of great pieces of news for a variety of our players. We've seen that Jordan Harris has been reactivated. If you recall, I believe it was a broken foot, ankle, maybe. Back in the fall, he had a stellar start to the season. And I have to say, I don't know if you've noticed this, Maria, the Bruins organization must really, really believe in this kid because he had that fantastic start. He basically made the team out of camp, had this thing happen. But if you watch Behind the B or any of those kinds of things, he's always there. It's like he's travels with the team. He still gets to participate in all of these things like the siblings trip and this, that, and the other. And I thought that was really, first of all, nice to be still so inclusive for him because he's been off the ice for 3 months.
Some time.
2 months.
Yeah. I like this kid very much.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that when, Mason Lohrei was putting his little time out there for a bit, I believe I said on this pod, or maybe I said it on another show that I had called into, that there was a potential that Mason Lohrei could lose his job to Jordan Harris. That's how much I thought of his game, and maybe the organization feels the same way. I'm excited to see what he can bring back to the table if he gets the opportunity to slot back into the lineup at some point in time. And I hope that he does. I really do hope that he does.
Yeah, I just remember thinking I really, really liked this kid. And so as part of his reactivation, he's been assigned to Providence for a conditioning stint. I believe this happened midweek this week. So he's only
didn't he score the game-winning goal in overtime for Providence or have a hand in it?
So. Yeah.
Just
So
this past week.
Mm-hmm. So he's only just back and already making a difference. And so it'll be interesting to see when we see him. Obviously, I doubt we would see him.
Could be why we're hearing Mason Lohrei's name mentioned in some trade rumors.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see if they bring him up ahead of the break, just because I could make a case for either, right? I could make the case that, yeah, they should bring him up because maybe they're going to want to load management some of these guys, especially the guys who are going off to the Olympics. Granted, Jokiharju and Chucky are the only defensemen going to Italy. I doubt that they would give Chucky any kind of a rest, but maybe they would slot him in for Yoki and whatever. Who knows? However, I could also see them saying, you know what? Stay down in Providence. You're going to then get 6 weeks of continuous play, basically.
I think he should stay in Providence until they get back from the Olympic break. And just this, load management doesn't exist in the vocabulary of NHL players.
Not many of them, unless they are particularly old.
Yeah.
So who knows when we'll see him again, but it's going to be pretty exciting.
I suspect maybe sometime after the break, depending on what happens with, again, who knows what's going to happen about, I don't know if there are any moratoriums during the Olympics with regard to the trade deadline and that they won't be able to do anything. So he'll likely be hanging out in Providence until the league reopens up again after the Olympics.
Yes. I don't have that date off the top of my head, but I do know that going into the break, there is a trade freeze. So basically, if we don't see anything happen anywhere in the league, not just with the Boston Bruins, leading up to, I believe that Thursday is the last day for the league. The Bruins' last game is Wednesday, but the league is done on Thursday. So I'm thinking the the freeze is in that week, which is really like in a week.
No, it is in a week. Yeah.
And so when everybody comes back, it's going to be a pretty exciting trade deadline season because that's all the business is going to happen in this short period of time. But
it will be quick. Yeah.
Yes. Alex Steeves also received an extension, a 2-year deal, 1.625. Thoughts on that extension offer for Alex Steeves?
I think it's a great deal. I think it's a great deal for the player. I think it's a great deal for the organization. He is a good player, and I think it gives Johnny Sweeney too, again, some flexibility when it comes to any potential deals that the Bruins want to be involved in, where you have a serviceable player like Alex Steeves that's been extended for 2 years at a really good number that someone might be interested in throwing in as part of a package.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, as much as I hate to kind of talk about it in the same breath.
I know, but it is a business. We have to look at both sides of it, right?
Exactly.
Listen, this team is not finished rebuilding itself or retooling itself. So
we're not back yet. Okay.
We unlike the New England Patriots, no, the Boston Bruins are not back yet.
No, but we are certainly in significantly better shape.
But we're trending in the right direction.
Yes, 100%. I thought that was a great deal. In fact, I thought it was quite generous. Deserved, but quite generous on the part of the Boston Bruins, who have been known to be stingy and cheap. But it also just makes me chuckle because this is a guy that came from the Toronto organization who didn't get a ton of opportunities there. And if this is another deal that makes Steve Dangle's head explode, then I'm just here for the entertainment value.
Yeah. And we've got more entertainment to add to that.
Oh, God.
The gift that keeps on giving, which are the Toronto Maple Leafs. But we'll get to that in our Around the Rink.
And then to kind of piggyback off of last week's last week's prospects conversation with Mary Beth. We've got 3 players in the Bruins pipeline that are Hobey Baker finalists, which, again, if you're new to hockey or you're not as aware of what kind of happens in the NCAA sphere, this is like the Heisman Trophy, so to speak, for college hockey. This is the best player. Think Johnny Gaudreau has been a winner. I think, I don't want to say maybe Cale Makar, but basically a lot of these elite players that have played college hockey have won this award. So the fact that the Bruins have 3, and it's not like there are 100 nominees. There's
right.
Finalists means like these are the guys. So that's pretty awesome to see.
And Higgins and Letourneau have been on fuego since the World Juniors. They've taken whatever momentum they had and have carried it forward to their teams and their continued, dynamic play. And I'll be really surprised if we don't see James Higgins
in April
at some point this season. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And just a couple of housekeeping notes as we head into the break. Again, we will still have episodes. We'll be having a little bit of fun. We will have I guess at this point, it's our annual awards, mid-season awards coming up. We're going to have a special guest episode also during the break to talk with another team that's kind of going through the struggles. We like to have conversations with the other teams and just kind of hear about what they are also experiencing. Kind of makes us feel a little bit better that we're not the only ones.
Yeah, right. As much as we think we have agita, there are some teams out there that have more agita than even we do.
Exactly. So that'll be happening during the break. But let's take a quick spin around the rink because, again, the Boston Bruins aren't the only team in the league. We've got Connor McDavid being Connor
McDavid. Connor McJesus. There's a reason why he's called Connor McJesus. This kid is just like, he's phenomenal. There is just no other word to describe the play of Connor McDavid other than phenomenal.
Yep. So if you haven't seen or read, Connor McDavid is the first player this season to hit 90 points, which is actually insane because this happened, I think, last week. So it's January and he has 90 points. That's insane.
In what? We're talking maybe like 48 games played?
Right. So he's like the Hart Trophy. It must be mine.
Just rename it.
I know. And not only that, but this was a fun fact that I had learned. This is also his 10th consecutive 90 points season. And with this 90-point season, he broke his tie with legend Mike Bossy to claim sole possession of the second longest consecutive point streak in NHL history. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. A little bit of Olympics news. So far, we've only seen one player really go down since the roster announcement, and that's been Seth Jones for Team Canada. He's been replaced by Jackson Lacombe, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to admit this. I did not know who the heck this guy was.
I was just going to ask you, who is Jackson Lacombe?
Look, in my defense, okay, he plays for Anaheim. So that's a double whammy because, first of all, it's a West Coast team. It's harder when you are an East Coast person, fan of an East Coast team, to really stay on top of what's happening out West, right? It's too late, whatever. But it's also Anaheim, and they're a team that has been kind of brushed off a lot over the years. And this team, much like the San Jose Sharks, full of a lot of really young kids, and they are a team worth paying attention to just because they've been bad over the years doesn't mean that they've never had high-end, legitimate talent. It's just harder to see it in that kind of situation. But regardless, Lacombe, he's an interesting one, and I think, or not Team Canada, my apologies. Team USA. I don't know why I said Canada. He's a lefty, which was an interesting choice because Seth Jones is right. But this guy, I'm actually a little bit surprised that maybe he didn't get picked over Seth Jones to begin with. In 52 games, he's got 6 goals, 27 assists. So he's got 33 points. Yes, your favorite stat, plus minus. He is a -2. However, please remember who he plays for.
Nothing. Yeah.
Who he plays for. But his points share is a 4.4. And if you're not familiar with points share, it's really an evaluation of how much is he contributing when he's on the ice, when goals are happening and things like that. And to have a 4.4 as a defenseman is actually really good. It means that he has a strong impact in both directions, both offensively and defensively. So I think he's going to be a surprisingly strong player for Team USA. So very interesting to see, but exciting for him nonetheless. And then, of course, former Boston Bruins legend Charlie Coyle, one of my favorite players, CC. He had a pretty huge milestone this past week. He played his 1,000th game, and I believe he scored, I should have checked this beforehand, his 200th goal?
He did get a goal, and I think it was a significant goal. You are correct.
His 200th goal. So awesome. We love this for Charlie.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy, and glad he's doing well in his new home
in Columbus. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Roman Josi, also 1,000 games, but Josi has been in the same uniform.
The same Nashville Predator uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so adorable to see both of his 2 young kids wearing his little jersey number, the name Daddy on the back, and they read the starting lineup that day. So,
yeah. Yep. I love it. I love when they do that. So good for him. Good for both of them. We love to see that because this is a tough league and it's hard to get to 1,000 games. It really is. And then you want to share a fun story about the Toronto Maple Leafs because I saw
this organization is just like,
besides whatever the heck Craig Berube is doing in the gym to look like he just had a lobotomy. I don't even know what happened there.
But they are such a shit show this season. So the big controversy, there are 2 apparently big controversies right now. Now, the Maple Leafs have lost 4 games in a row. And it just, these losses between, and not just the Maple Leafs, but losses that the Bruins have suffered, I am convinced that the Stanley Cup is going to be won by a Western Conference team. Okay? There's no doubt about it. There's someone in the West is taking the Stanley Cup this season, unless something bizarre happens.
Right.
So we have apparently Austin Matthews refusing to speak to the media on the day before a big game, which I'm guessing it was the game against the Detroit Red Wings. Then William Nylander is dealing with an injury right now and apparently flipped off the camera in the press box during the game. Now, that prompted a lot of shit. And he has since come out and apologized, said it was a moment of frustration. Look, I understand all of that. Okay.
Right.
It's
tough. It is a tough market. That's not an understatement.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this. Can you envision a day where David Pastrnak is sitting up on the 9th floor, and I know you're aggravated and frustrated. Your team is losing. You can't be out there on the ice. Can you ever imagine him flipping the bird up there. I'm sorry.
That's bonkers.
Okay. So this just speaks to me, the continued lack of culture on that team, that they can't get out of their own effing way. And until they get that component of their DNA figured out, they're not going to win shit.
No. Nope.
Now, apparently now the league is looking into whether or not they're going to take any disciplinary action. To which
really?
We should remind everyone that way back in the day, when Andrew Ference had his wardrobe malfunction in his glove against the Montreal Canadiens, he was in fact fined for that. So,
fact. So
it's just hysterical to me. And it's just hysterical when you read the online comments too, the justification from Maple Leafs fans. However, if that was someone in a different uniform, who had done that, would you be feeling the same way? Oh, it's just frustrating. It's just his freedom of expression. I'm sorry, okay? You're a professional athlete. There's no place, okay? You want to flip the bird to your buddies in the privacy of your own freaking home? All right. You don't want the camera on you? Look away. Stand up. Turn your back to it. Do something else. But when you're a star player on the team and you've got other people looking up to you, that to me is not cool. Not cool.
No. And just because you can doesn't mean you should at the end of the day.
You should. Right.
So, now, I think that's right on par with the disaster that is that organization. But
yeah. And I don't know who Craig Berube was fighting in the gym too.
Oh my God. If you haven't seen, I mean, there was this initial picture of him and I thought he was maybe wearing a hat and all I saw was the black eye. But my God, then I saw him on the bench and he's got like this horseshoe mark on his head. And I'm like, this guy, what on earth was he doing? Because that looks horrible. Like, did he almost die?
I know, right? Did a piece of equipment fall on him or what?
Oh my God. But regardless, we have a couple of games to talk about that the Bruins played. 2 very good games, highly entertaining games, and one game that, well, is better left. There's not much to talk about. And actually, we have 3 good games because we saw them play in Chicago. They went out and highly entertaining game. They were down somewhat quickly, but they came back and they had 5 unanswered goals, which you love to see. Corpy was in net and he was solid. He looked fantastic. So no complaints there. Then I'm only assuming at this point that the players and their siblings probably had a little bit too much fun in between their trip to Chicago and their trip to Dallas because, my God,
let's give Dallas their due. That is a very good Dallas Stars team. It is a very good Dallas Star team. However,
they did not show up to play.
Nope,
not play hockey.
And then they start their parade to the penalty box.
Yes,
which we've seen this movie countless times this season. When they start that back in and out of the box, it's a recipe for disaster. It's you might as well put an L in their column at this point in time. And I know you had corrected me. I thought it was the 8th time that a team had put up 6 spots on them, but it was 9. It's been 9 times this season.
It was 9 times. I mean, when the Bruins lose, it seems to me at this point, it's not because of a lack of talent or skill. It's not because of anything that they can't do. It's almost always the things that they do.
They do it to themselves.
Yeah.
So do it to themselves.
Right. At this point, there's not much else to say other than unfortunately, what should have been a highly entertaining and was a highly anticipated matchup between goaltenders, because those two guys are
Right.
100% fighting for the
spot on
starting
Team
job.
US. Yeah, right. And so there was conversation. Does that mean that Jeremy Swayman lost? No. Because in that Dallas game, listen, the expectations on Swayman are very high, as they should be. However, when you're the only guy out there for predominantly the majority of the game who's trying to prevent pucks from going in, and you see the guys in front of you doing nothing. And when I tell you nothing, they left Swayman high and dry for the majority of that game.
100%. I mean, when you are spending that much time on the penalty kill, that means by the nature of what you're down a player, your defensive players, and of course the ultimate defensive player being your goaltender, they're going to be worked that much harder. Their job is that much harder. You don't have the same offensive opportunities because your players like Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak are sitting on the bench for excessive periods of time. You can't score goals. The goalie can't score goals ever, really. Let's be realistic. And your top guys can't score goals. So it was another one of those games that you just really hate to see. And I mean, in that first period, you had tripping by David Pastrnak. You had fighting. You had interference. You had cross-checking. I mean, that just set the tone. And that was it. It was over. The game was over.
You know when it's over. I mean, when they start playing in that manner, when they are not interested in playing their structure, when they're not interested in moving their feet or back checking, it's just, you just move on. You just say to yourself, you know what, if these guys don't care, why am I going to stay engaged in this game?
Right. Exactly. Which, we've also talked about this season. Something that we see with some regularity is when Boston has a game like they had in Dallas, typically they then come back next game a little bit more refocused. And we did see that again. Now, this hasn't happened every time, but it did happen. And so they were at home against Vegas. And this was an interesting game in the sense that there were a lot of penalties in the first period. You have Pavel Zacha with a high stick. Kastelik got into it, so he fighting. But, again, it's matching, so whatever. But you've got Morgan Geekie with roughing. So if you want to look at it from this perspective, the Bruins had 2 penalties in the first period, really, that were stupid. They had 1 in the second, and then they had 2 in the third. And I don't know if Boston was just the beneficiary of Vegas kind of just not being, awake, alive, because...
And it's funny because Vegas was in the day before.
I know. And they took a good 2 periods to show up to that game. And once they did, quite frankly, it was terrifying because Boston, it seemed like their energy and ability to be awake and alive really went downhill. And I don't know if, again, maybe it's all about, maybe their energy level actually stayed the same, and the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights woke up made it look like they had stopped playing. I don't know. It's sometimes hard to tell. But regardless, the fact that the Bruins were able to squeak out a win, considering the number of penalties that they had. I mean, they had 1, 2, 3, 4 So more than we like. And I guess I'm not surprised then by the outcome of this game. They won, yes, but by literally the skin of their teeth.
They were hanging on by the skin of their teeth. And Jonas Korpisalo was excellent in this Vegas game. He was excellent.
Yep. I really like seeing him with this frequency because, again, I do think that both goalies benefit from this increased frequency of swapping out. I really do. I think that, they just both benefit from it. And to kind of quote you, the very next game against the Habs, love to see the rivalry alive and well. Highly entertaining game. I watched it yesterday.
I will say though, I was not thrilled with the Bruins' first period in that game.
No.
I didn't think they were ready to play. They didn't look as engaged as I had hoped that they would be.
It seemed almost
a
like
Saturday night against the Bruins and the Habs. The Habs were taking it to them in that first period.
Well, and it seemed almost like the Bruins were still operating a little bit leftover from their previous game. Like if there had been 4 periods in a game, that's what that fourth period looked like. It was like a little bit of leftover from whatever funk was kind of permeating the team at the end of the Vegas game. And they only had in that first period 1 penalty. And again, it was matching 5 for fighting. So it's a little bit surprising. I mean, I think they got lucky in that case. Because, again, you saw 3 penalties in this game. But
Cole Caulfield nearly won that game single-handedly for the
I didn't realize he had a hat trick.
Yes.
And all of the goals in the second period were power play goals, which was also kind of surprising. And Bruins had all but 1 as a power play goal, which was great to see the power play.
And I would argue that first goal by Cole Caulfield. Now, I know he got by a bunch of Bruins players, but to me, the shot itself, I think that's one Swayman should have had. And I know he knows he should have had it because when he does the, skate out of the crease to reset himself, he knows that he should have had that.
Yes. Yep, I agree. But we saw a pretty busy evening from Charlie McAvoy. He got himself 3 points. We saw Minty. He had 2 points. He had a goal and an assist. Love to see Morgan Geekie really back. He had a stretch of time where he just had that monkey on his back, and seems like now he's finally back in action, which we like to see. And of course, Victor Arvidsson, love this guy.
Yeah, I do too. I hope he's part of the future plan, or if he's not, I hope you get something really good for him because
I agree.
He's been pulling his fair share of the weight. Now, I will say in that game, to me, because the Bruins were chasing that game from almost the entirety, all of it. To me, the catalyst in that game was when we all saw Nikita Zadorov go down, and it looked like some type of bad leg injury where he was like hopping down the tunnel, and we thought, what the fuck? Another defenseman got hurt, and of all the people, right? Given the monster minutes he's been logging and the way he's been playing, I thought for sure we're not seeing him back in the third period. And many others online said the same thing.
Yep.
When he came back to play that third period, I will tell you this. That to me showed me something a lot about him as a player and as a leader, because now you're back on the ice. You're not giving up in this game because you know how important this point swing is. Set aside the fact that it's the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night. But
right.
Huge point swing.
Yeah.
For your chances to stay in a playoff spot and the hunt for a playoff spot, to come back and have your teammates see you come back to play out the rest of that game, to me, was huge.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely massive because the Bruins are currently, and today we're recording on Monday, they are, 5th in the Atlantic. Of course, we're talking about the fact that they are behind Buffalo and Montreal, which is ridiculous, even though they have 30 wins. But thank you very much to overtime loser points. Montreal has 7 and the Sabres have 5. That was huge because of the fact that you've got those two teams ahead of Boston in the standings by the sheer fact that they were able to just make it to overtime and not actually win. Like, that's why it's even more important to rack up full two points in full right now, because I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid, and it makes me mad about the loser point this season.
Maybe we can talk about that during one of our special episodes because we both hate the entire format. I don't like it anymore. Like, no. I want the shootout fully abolished.
Right.
Fully abolished.
Again, it makes no sense. If a win is a win, why is a loss not a loss?
Correct.
What difference does it make?
It doesn't stand to reason anymore. But who will we? No one listens to us besides our listeners.
Exactly. So that was
all in all, a good week after the Bruins got the shit kicked out of them in Dallas, right? They've done what they've been typically doing all season when a loss like that happens, is to bounce back and say, we're not going to play like shit again, especially on home ice. Right. We're not going to take this lying down. We're going to self-correct and we're going to play better.
Exactly. So who are you giving stick taps this week?
Well, I do want to give stick taps to the starting defensemen who have started to contribute offensively. Finally, it's taken a while, and in order for this team to have sustained success, especially on the power play, they've got to contribute offensively. I would love to see, though, at some point, Nikita Zadorov on one of the power play units, because this guy is so smooth on his skates. I can't remember what game it was, but he skated in to the offensive zone and he dished off a beauty of a pass to David Pastrnak.
It was against Vegas.
Was it against
Thomas
Vegas?
Hertl? Thomas Hertl. He had a terrible game.
But I just, like, what are we waiting for? Put him on one of the power play units and see what happens. What have you got to lose? I mean, I know he's logging already a shit ton of minutes, but he's proving that he can handle it.
Yeah. Definitely want to give him all the flowers this week, because he's just a beast, as we said. What else? Geeky, obviously, as I kind of mentioned.
The monkey. Right. We've got him back
this week.
Got his scoring touch back again. We talked about Victor Arvidsson, which I hope that he's part of the Bruins' future. I think I like what he brings on the ice, and it seems to me that he brings a lot in the room as well as a leader. I don't think he's afraid to be vocal when he needs to be.
Right. And he's a good veteran. I mean, he's been around. He's been obviously deep in the playoffs. He was in the Cup final last year, so he knows what it takes. And that's really important when you have a team that has a lot of inexperienced guys in that regard. I agree. I hope he continues his career in Boston. We'll see.
And David Pastrnak, he keeps dudes. I mean, this guy keeps climbing the Bruins statistical records. He is now 7th overall in Bruins history for points. 1 more point, 2 more points, and he's going to certainly surpass Rick Middleton. He's definitely going to surpass Brad Marchand. Brad right now sits 5th overall. I mean, he could get past Espo and St. Patrice. He's going to be playing for a bit in a Bruins uniform. So, but this kid, I mean, we're so damn lucky to have David Pastrnak on this team.
Yeah, 100%. This guy, I mean, and he's kind of almost sneaky about it too, because this season, he's not the same player that he was the year he got 60 goals, because he was just scoring goals. And his impact now, he is fully the Boston Bruins, I think, at this point, because of his playmaking, his contributions all over the ice in every possible way. The way that he has become this very well-rounded player is just so impressive, and the Bruins are so lucky to have a player like David Pastrnak.
Right.
Lucky. And of course, we are thrilled that the Habs rivalry is back. We've talked about that for a long time. How
it's good for business. It's been a long time coming. It's been too long, but I think we can safely say that after the games we've seen these teams play this season, it's back.
Yep. Yeah. We want the Habs to be good because we want games like what we saw this past weekend. I want to see that kind of game all the time from the Bruins and the Habs, because it just makes it more fun. Like you said, it's good for business. Who's in the box? What's in the box?
Well, I mean, at this point in time, it's no secret that if the Bruins don't play disciplined hockey and they start a parade to the penalty box, it's a recipe for a shit loss.
Yep.
I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing that we only have this one issue right now in the penalty box. All things considered, where we were a year ago, where we were at the end of last season. I mean, yes, this thing that's in the penalty box can be extremely damaging. But it's also a good thing that this is like the one issue. It makes addressing it relatively simple to some extent.
I mean, I can't even put my guy Mason Lohrei in the penalty box right now.
I know, he scored goals in Chicago. He had a great game. I know. He's better in the sense that he's fine. Like,
interestingly enough, his name comes up in a trade rumor. The deal that wasn't, which was fine by me. We didn't really touch upon that, but I'm good with the Bruins not getting Rasmus Andersson. He wasn't going to sign here anyway, so that's fine, and it's his right to do that. You earn the right to become a free agent, and you should explore what else is out there. But funny that the package that was mentioned included Mason Lohrei, and lo and behold, he gets those 2 goals Saturday night against the Blackhawks. So whatever motivates you, dude.
Whatever it takes. Exactly. So we've got a couple more games coming up. Obviously, by the time you hear this, the Bruins will already have played their game in New York at Madison Square Garden. I believe that is our third tilt with the Rangers. So that's going to be it with them for the season. And then immediately turning around and heading right back home for a game on the 27th, hosting the Nashville Predators. And
let me tell you, that team, don't underestimate that Predators team.
Yes.
Because they're fighting their way back into playoff contention.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, at this point, I'm almost also just looking at the schedule, kind of shocked that there are some teams that we haven't seen yet, like really at all, that are also at least somewhat East Coast based. So the fact that I believe this is the first time we are seeing the Predators, and is this the first time we're seeing the Flyers? Maybe. If we did, it was a long time ago, so I'm a little surprised.
It was a long time ago, and my recall does not go back that far anymore, I hate to tell you.
Yeah, so we've got that coming up, and then the next thing you know, it's going to be the Stadium Series.
Off to Tampa. Let me tell you, I am going to rip Logan Airport down brick by brick if my flight to Tampa gets canceled.
Rightly so. You absolutely should. It's hopefully not, knock on wood, but. Well, any final thoughts on this week that was, Maria?
No, we're still, balance and consistency would be beneficial at this point, but I think we're slowly getting there. I think the Bruins are benefiting from the fact that no one in the East seems to want to run away with anything right now. So
I know.
The Bruins should be grateful and happy about that and use it to their advantage.
I agree. Well, make sure you like and subscribe for more content, and be sure to leave a rating and review to help other Bruins fans find us. And you can support the pod by joining our Patreon or following us on our socials at tape2tapemk and on Substack at tape2tapemk.substack.com. And as always, go Bees!
Go Bees!
Yeah.